Hi, just talking about what happened week commencing the 22nd of April. Monday was Bank Holiday Monday, part of the Easter weekend, so the Sunday of the Sunday before, we'd been round at Sherry and Mick's, kind of like mother-in-law's house, and had quite a bit to drink. So, as often happens when I'm recovering, I lose the normal amount of drive that I would have of a weekend. So just tried not to be too hard on myself on that particular day. Watched Game of Thrones, the final season. Watched Point, which is a great episode. I think I actually watched it twice. Watched Point Break, which is one of my favourite films with Broads, and finished off eating all my Easter eggs, which you could say different ways you can have of eating your Easter eggs. Some people would probably eat a little piece of them and just keep nibbling away at them for the next few weeks, or for me it's really just eat them, get all the bad stuff in, get all the bad stuff out, and then you can clean it through your system as soon as you can possibly get it through. Although when it came to the Tuesday, when I had my medical for my life insurance and I'd put on about £7 since the last time I'd weighed myself, then I don't know, maybe I should have thought a little bit harder about my Easter egg eating policy. Busy at work on the Tuesday. I was working myself on putting some new counter visuals together for a client, which it's for the bulkhead. Instead of having signs, they're going to start trialling using digital screens. So, and that means that they can change the look and feel of the counter from a morning to an afternoon. So that's going to be a bit of a first for them, so we'll see how that works out. Wednesday I was out of the office. I had a site survey to do for a client up in Southwaite services. So I was quite lucky really. It was a very nice day. I like these drives. I think it's maybe 1.5, 2 hours up there, something like that. It gives me, and obviously got to come all the way back as well. So it gave me quite a good opportunity to catch up on a lot of the podcasts and yeah. So it's never really time that I dread. I actually like going on long journeys, so that was good. And the views were great. As soon as you get a little bit past the top end of Preston, the traffic really dies down and the views just get better and better. Really, quite it's not very long after, even when you're around getting towards the Lake District, then obviously you've got mountains and stuff, so it just feels like a lot more like you're driving in countryside, which is nice. On the way home, it didn't take me that long to do the survey. Took a bit of a video and measure it up and that kind of thing. So because it was a nice day on the way back, I actually went for a bit of a nostalgic trip through Leyland, which is a town not far from Preston that I spent a lot of time in growing up. I went to school there and I worked there for about 10 years, something along those lines. So went back, had a look around, drove past my old school, back to places where I'd spent quite a lot of time with one of my previous partners. So I had a look at the house that she lived in, or certainly drove past it. And went past Lapen, where I used to work. It's funny too, there's quite a lot of people actually outside catching some sun. It's not actually changed a dramatic amount. Probably the road layout's changed a bit around Leyland, but it still pretty much has the same look and feel of the place. And yeah, it was nice to reflect on how life has changed, you know, where I'm at in terms of, you know, we want to call it career progression or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Came back and did some more deeper drilling down in terms of the finances on the Wits End deal, in terms of, you know, just looking at potential bills, looked at things like, tried to make a guess in terms of rates and what have you, and just really just double checking that I hadn't made any kind of glaring errors on figures and that things were stacking up the way that we'd originally thought. So yeah, there was no nasty surprises there. We're currently running the same ad that we tried on Facebook, encouraging schools to buy exams for water, and we actually had our first couple of inquiries on that, but we run it through LinkedIn. Certainly a different kind of crowd. Obviously it's more business people on LinkedIn. We were able to target head teachers and deputy teachers, that kind of thing, so it appears in their feeds. And sure enough, we had a couple of inquiries, so which is good. Bearing in mind we're only spending about maybe something like the minimum budget, £10 a day, across the whole country. So yeah, obviously it's quite a relatively, think all the amount of teachers across the country, in some ways it looks a bit of a narrow audience, but because we're advertising for them, there's something very, very specific to them. So if you are I think I've already mentioned this before, but basically if you're a student, you can't go into an exam with a water bottle, because obviously you could have written things on the label and all the rest of it. So you can take water bottles in them. In fact, our local school has said if you do want to take in bottled water, then you have to remove the label yourself. So yeah, so it's good to see that there's positive feedback from that, without the kind of environmental type backlash. So it was good. Josh had completed his Blackline video, which was for a cyclist, national cycle. So they're a velodrome, so they, you know, where the bikes race around one after another. And yeah, it's a really high-paced video. Well shot, probably a couple of minutes long. Yeah, it looked a really good quality piece of work. So really proud that he's got that finished. I know he's been working on it for quite some time, but I had to go back and get some additional shots for, you know, just putting GoPros on people's heads to get some different angles on it. So yeah, that was good. On Thursday, the survey report came back, the detailed structural survey report came back for Wits End, and it was 60 sides of A4, when spent about 6 hours going through it. And these are one of these invisible jobs that maybe people don't appreciate that Wen does, to be able to give up 6 hours to go through and to be concentrated and go through the paperwork in that kind of detail is something I would find really difficult. Wen's definitely much more suited to that. I think it's possibly because she's done, you know, been to university and is more able to sit there and read through it all. I'm certainly more somebody who finds it easier to listen and replay things, aka podcasts, rather than reading things. No massive surprises. I mean, we suspected, having a quick look round the offices, the work that need done. So it was more a question of having official confirmation of, you know, all the things that do need doing. Without a doubt, it's certainly what you would classify as a project rather than a finished article. But I think for wherever we go or whatever we do, there's going to be some kind of downside or some kind of catch. I just don't think there is. I don't think there is a perfect location for us. I think there's always going to be things that are going to be problematic. So it's just a question of getting the one that fits what we can afford and that has the scope for us to invest in the property and invest in the project. So yeah, I mean, it's not something that it's probably really best news, but equal on the same basis, it's not something that's going to kill the deal dead in the water as far as I'm concerned. It's just something we've just got to work through and go back and ask more questions to the vendors, really. So the ball's in their court to a degree. On Thursday, was very pleased we got another actual physical inquiry more inquiries for water off the ads we were running on LinkedIn. So that was pleasing to see. On the Thursday, we also had a meeting, really just to go through processes more than anything else in terms of the videos and in terms of the discovery meetings that we've got with clients and how that could possibly be done better. We're also looking to run some Facebook ads some kind of social ads on LinkedIn, and we're going to run those to agency type owners in the northwest, or certainly within kind of like an hour's drive of us, and just to offer them our video production services, but through as a white label thing. By that I mean so that we go in, we would see their clients, but effectively we work under their banner. So if they're an agency and let's say the agency I used to work at, which was called Casper, they would be able to contact us. We would go in, see their clients, take the brief, do the filming, and effectively the other agency would just put a markup or a little, like a handling charge on it. But effectively we would get the work, and they would also be able to pick up the keep their clients happy and keep it in-house as far as from their perspective. It's kind of like having an in-house service without having to pay for it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Got a pretty good feeling about that. I think that will work well. There's a lot of traction and a lot of interest in people who want to do videos, and not every agency has the in-house capabilities to do it. So Friday I was working from home because we had unfortunately the dishwasher breaks. As you can pretty much, whenever, I don't know what it is, whenever I have like a car that I sell or anything that you can get rid of, you can guarantee things start breaking, and the dishwasher has finally decided that it's packed up. Turned out that it was a broken motor, or the main piece that makes the dishwasher run has broke. So it's maybe about, I think it's going to cost about 150 quid to repair, but it really is an important piece of kit, if you want to call it that. We use it every single day, and definitely makes life a lot easier. Feel the plates and what have you feel cleaner. So gonna have to wait now for the part to come in. So he's not coming back till this coming week. Friday, we on the courier side of our business, we had a little bit of a, not so much a setback, but more of a frustration really, that the main carrier who we use, DPD, we collect parcels from the local area and then send them out through DPD, and obviously we make a margin on that actual onward shipping of products. They've decided that they want to terminate the agreement with us, or terminate the service with us, on the basis that they need to know exactly that the place that they're, well, in their minds, or the way they described it, they don't like businesses that are going around collecting other parcels, because how are we supposed to know what's in the parcel, which is, to a degree, is a little bit of common sense, and to a degree there's an element of truth in that. So basically we'd had a parcel that somebody put some oil in and then not put the top on properly, and then that had subsequently then leaked, and then the leak had then damaged some other parcels, and yeah, so it's ended up that we're now trialling other carriers. We've got one in place already that works. It is quite frustrating, because obviously the people who are actually dealing with the account on a day-to-day basis, the user interface that's used on DPD is pretty good, pretty slick, and then it's just a question that you've got to get used to using a new system, and obviously that creates challenges for people. On Friday there was we're currently getting to the end of the Costa, or the cost of promotion in terms of the packing element of it. You know, that's a very labour intensive part of the job, and that was only really starting on the Friday afternoon, and we ideally want to get all the goods shipped out on Monday, but you know, fair play and testament to the guys that work for us. We had no shortage of volunteers to come in over the weekend to finish it up, which is amazing. It's definitely the right kind of got such a good mentality at work, wherever, you know, even to the point where, you know, Bevan Accounts is there, you know, offering to help do on the packing when we're just trying to double up on teams. We're lucky that we've actually got quite a bit of space internally within the business, so we're able to use the boardroom table as a temporary packing bench. So that was handy to do. Saturday I got quite a bit of work done on Saturday actually. It was got up, did my usual weekend thing, which involves sleeping on being woken by the dogs at the normal time, even though they're fast asleep now, and they are, and then just really climbing into a sleeping bag and sleeping downstairs on the couch. They don't actually, the ironical thing is that they don't really, it's only really one of the dogs, Harley, who's the older rescue type dog. She's not really that bothered to a degree that being sleeping, like say for example in the same room or anything. Just need to know that I'm down there and that they've seen some signs of life. So and I'm actually down there because I've actually tried going back to bed, and the dog just keeps woofing. But if I sleep downstairs, they seem to be then quite relaxed and happy to sleep on. Saturday was Storm Hannah hit the UK, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the flags that we've got flags that are situated nationwide, and it was really quite a strong storm, strong winds, and absolutely hammering down with rain. So much so that on the Saturday the dogs refused to go out to do their usual toilet business, and we ended up where one of them had actually had a couple of puddles inside the house, which is really not on. Had to take the dogs out for a walk, and I got absolutely soaked to the point where I had to change my jeans when I came in, because they literally were soaked right through to the skin. We went out as a family at the cinema to watch the second part of the End Game. Well, we went to watch the Avengers film, which is called the End Game. A 3-hour movie, so we got there, I think it was like about 8:20, something like that. Didn't get out till midnight. I've got to admit, from a personal point of view, I'm not going to obviously do any spoilers or anything along those lines, but I would say from a personal point of view, I definitely enjoyed the first film a lot more than the second film. I don't know whether it's because there's maybe more characters in the second film to try and identify with, and there was probably less characters that I already knew and didn't really feel the same kind of connection with the characters that are in there. So for instance, when I'm watching Game of Thrones, that's a series that I've watched now for a long time, so I'm very invested in the characters. So the that leads me nicely actually on to the Sunday. Sunday I actually sent an email out because the Game of Thrones now is streamed or is shown. The first time it's shown at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and whilst obviously I could stay up, I wouldn't do, because then it's not really fair on other people. But I've sent an email around to work just basically asking people not to discuss or talk about it for anybody who has stayed up. I'm just going to have to respect the fact that other people can't do it, and I think hopefully that'll give people more confidence to be able to not have to feel that they have to get up, because they know at work that there's kind of like a ban on discussing it. So we'll see how that plays out, because there's a lot of there's on this particular one, this is an episode for Game of Thrones where there's likely to be a lot of the characters are going to be killed off, I would imagine. It's the last series, so they have effectively the superfluous. There's no real need for them, for all of them. So yeah, I think this is where the call's going to begin. Something certainly for me to look forward to. Sunday, the weather was considerably better than Saturday. The storm had gone and quite sunny actually. Wendy and I had it planned for quite a while, but we went across to Broughton. I have this bit of a weird philosophy or a life hack on socks. So I bulk buy socks, ironically from Tesco's. They're not the most expensive ones, but they're really comfortable and a great fit. So I buy exactly the same socks every time, buy them in bulk, and then get rid of all the socks that I've got in bulk and just replace them all. And what that actually means is that if you keep on wearing the socks all the time, then they all wear out together really at the same time, and it means that because they're all black and they don't have any identifying marks on the socks, it just means that I don't have to bother too much when it comes to pairing them, which is definitely something that really annoyed me, or does to this day annoys me when I'm doing the kids socks, and then for some or other we always end up with odd socks. We in fact, so much so that we've actually got a pile of just odd socks and socks that don't match. Where the other ones go, I've literally no clue whatsoever. So yeah, it took me a little bit of hunting around to find the exact ones that I was looking for, but they were there, and I've ended up buying 3 packs of 10, so I've got 30 socks, which is pretty good because it means that I'm able to use 15 of them and actually keep another 15 back. So I've actually got I don't know, probably about 3 years worth of socks. So yeah, mission accomplished on that one. We also went across to Broughton, which is out Chester kind of Wales way, because we went to Sealand and we had a look round at sofas. The sofas that we have in this house fit our room, our living room really nice. for better or worse, the living room that we've got in the potential new house is much bigger. So it's when you put the same couches in there, they're going to end up looking pretty lost or dwarfed, whatever you want to say. They're going to be floaty in the room, and so we're just going to have to look for another set. So I was quite lucky really in some ways, because sofas are one of those things that everybody likes certain kinds of sofas. You can get ones that look pretty, but I would more, from a personal point of view, the sofa's got to be really comfortable for me, and I mean to be able that you can get on, and you've got something to rest your heads on, and that it's comfy, and you're able to sleep on it. So even right from the get-go, the first couch that I tried, I'd literally kicked my trainers off, and then was just testing the length of it to see when I do inevitably still have to come downstairs and sleep in a sleeping bag, that I have got the room to be able to stretch out, and that the couch is comfy. We've ended up looking at couches that have recliners. It seems to be that there's a lot more recliners these days, and you can get them with electrics, and much as they're cool they are, it's like, well, what do you do with the trailing lead? You probably have to, I don't know, like cut your carpet or something like that to do it, I would guess, if you wanted to do it. But even then, you'd still probably have a there'd be some kind of mark underneath the carpet where the lead was running underneath it, and it does feel a little bit more of a gimmick, and you've got motors in it all the more to go wrong. So much as I do like the idea of having a reclining chair, and I could see some definite way that I would get the use out of them. The mechanical ones, which apparently they're the same ones, they use the same mechanism where we were looking at Sofaland as is used by the Lazy Boy, which is an American make. So I think the motors and the motors and the handles or something like that, not the motors, the workings are designed to work up to an individual who's maybe up to, I think the guy said 23 stones. So you'd have to be a pretty big dude for that. And so I quite like the idea of that. And if we end up getting two couches and they've got a recliner at either end, then luckily with the four of us that are going to be in the house for the predominant amount of time, then at least it means that we're all stretched out. We've all got an end to sleep on. How that plays out with the dogs, because the dogs also like the ends of the couches so they can rest their faces on them. How that plays out, we're just going to have to wait and see, assuming of course that everything goes ahead with the purchase of the house. Spent a lot of time on Sunday, certainly on the journey there, and in the morning itself, interacting with people on LinkedIn. So that's really this, if you want to call it, Gary Vee has this $1.80 strategy where he'll put his 2 cents on 90 posts. Now, I didn't do 90 comments, but I certainly went through the comments that I thought I could really put something thoughtful on, in terms of the people who are linked to my network of people who I already know. So a lot of them will have been giving maybe tips, or like Gary Vee style tips to people who are doing videos, and maybe like what they're. So one of them was a fitness company. I can't think of the name of the company, but they were sharing the video that they'd done. So just shared some tips or some advice really that I'd picked up off Gary Vee, and also the Studio Sherpas podcast to do with YouTube, in terms of certification. Gosh, that's a hard one to do. That's actually something that I'm really keen to get in for us and for me to do. It is a 20-hour course. People were still in on Sunday. I'm not sure what time they finished, but they were in doing more on Costa, so I'm hoping when I go in today that's all complete. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up really for that week. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah, see you next week. Cheers.